The network has to be prepared to absorb whatever is going to come its way.
We're always preparing.
Make sure that the network is working all the time.
We are constantly looking at it. We're constantly monitoring. Take that responsibility very seriously.
The most rewarding thing about the work we do is whenever we see a customer able to communicate back to their loved ones.
That is why we do what we do.
We're relentlessly committed to the network, so in times like this, America can stay connected to work, school, and most importantly, to each other.
Good afternoon. We're here noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. Pacific. As you saw in that spot, we are here and we are ready, bringing you the latest Up to Speed Live. But that spot really speaks to how we're there for our communities right now, for folks around the world, across America, who are living in what is now this new normal of how do I stay connected with my family? How do I do my schoolwork? How do I do my work from home? So our network, never more than ever, has been prepared and ready for this current situation that we're in. So we're going to get updates on that. We're going to take your live questions. So if you have a question, you can send it to live@verizon.com. We're using some of the questions you sent us yesterday because there were so many into the hundreds as our subject matter for today. But we'll have updates from around the business. So I want to get right to those. Hans Vestberg, our chairman and CEO, is in our Emergency Operations Center with the latest. Hans, how are you? Good afternoon.
Hey, Jeremy. V-teamers, I hope you are safe and your families are safe as well in these times. It's great we're back here and to give you the latest updates on what's happening. Since yesterday, we got a lot of questions around the network, and as Jeremy said, Kyle will be here speaking about that. We also got questions around how our customers are reacting. We are in constant contact with our customers. I mean, Tammy and the Verizon Business Group, of course, are handling all the large enterprise customers that are calling and with both the doubts and problems that need to be solved, but also very more natural how technology should work in these times. And I think they are doing a great job to be very proactive with our large enterprise customers. So important. That goes, of course, also for the small and medium customers that are sometimes even more vulnerable in these times, that we need to be very close to them. And I can tell you, the Verizon Business Group is there every day for them, together with our technology team to respond to their questions, etc. We also have a lot of interaction with the federal government, with the state governments and with the local governments across the nation in the US, but of course also globally, talking to them about technology, how we can support, how they can support us in these times. So it's a constant interactivity happening all the time right now, which is very important. We have said it ourselves, communication becomes so important in these times between all the stakeholders, the community, the society, with our customers, with our shareholders, and of course with all of you, our employees and partners that we have across the globe. That becomes very important. And I said yesterday, we have a system how we now work in the executive team. We work virtually every day. We have a virtual meeting and we follow up what's happening in the day to see whatever new direction we need to take, and we have the latest and current information. I also do that with the board, so I have a frequent virtual meeting with the board of directors of Verizon. So just to understand how we try to work in this time, we just continue to work, but we use a little bit of different type of tools, and you learn a little bit new about that. So that's very important to all of us. So I think that's where I am, and a little bit update on the customer interaction, which are very high. And I think that as we now evolve into this week, when more people are working from home, our customers are working differently, our interaction is just going to increase more with our customers and with our technology people. That's going to be important to keep the networks up. So Jeremy, back to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Hans. So joining me here in the studio right now, leader of our global network and technology team, Kyle Malady. Kyle, we've got the distance between us here.
Yes, we do.
That
Social distance.
There we go. So Kyle, let's get the latest on the network and where it stands, how it's operating, and whatever we need to tell the teams out there in the field.
Great. I appreciate the opportunity to talk for GN&T. We've kind of been dealing with this for a little while in GN&T, and I want to thank everybody who's out there who's been working on this for weeks and months now. A lot of our folks out in APAC, they were hit first. They are keeping the networks running there, keeping customers up, while during a tough situation is kind of coming around the globe now to, our folks in EMEA. They are getting really hit really rough right now. But both Tim, Mark in APAC and Detlef in Europe and the teams, they're keeping the lights on and keeping things going. And now it's moving to North America and getting tougher and tougher for our folks here. So really two real critical things. We are nationally critical infrastructure. People rely on their power to be there. They rely on their water to come out of the spigot. They rely that there's going to be groceries through the transportation system, so they can move through their daily lives. Our services and products that we offer are no less important, and maybe more so. So therefore, we have a lot of responsibility as a company to work with governments, work with our customers, work with employees to make sure we are taking care of the infrastructure, and we are also taking care of employees and doing this in the safest way we can. So I'm happy to report, the network, it's a new normal for network, and we are not exactly sure how this is all going to pan out. We did a lot of planning. Yesterday was the first day of this kind of new normal with more people working from home and schools shut and restaurants shut and bars shut. So we're getting all that data from yesterday. I could tell you the wireless network held up very well.
Good.
The Fios network held up very well, and our enterprise networks held up very well. We have little brush fires in certain places because of usage in certain applications that, we didn't know how much more volume we'd get, and we're adding capacity in those to take care of the customers there. An interesting tidbit is obviously as we're looking through usage, video is up in the network, and gaming is up in the network for all those kids that are home. We also see in the wireless network that voice calling is up about 13%.
Interesting.
So meanwhile, our data is down a little bit overall. So people must be at home, and people are using their internet connectivity and using their handsets for making phone calls. So
interesting data points there, Kyle. More questions from your team in a couple moments. Now we want to head back down to the Emergency Operations Center. Our HR leader, Christy Pambianchi, is joining us. Christy, any updates from you this day?
Thanks, Jeremy, and glad to be with you here today, talking to all of our V-teamers and anyone that's watching online or on the webcast. First, I want to just underscore some of the remarks you heard from Hans and from Kyle, that we have really been aggressively working to do two things over the last few weeks. First is continue to support our customers in this global pandemic, and second, keep our people safe. And starting last Thursday, we communicated an effort to push as much work as possible to home, recognizing that we thought we had a large constituents of our company that were key to supporting the front line. And what I would tell you is we have really turned on a dime here and found very, very creative and new ways of working in this environment to help governments support containment and other measures that have been asked for around the world. So I'd like to just kind of click through quickly some of the work groups, because I know that's on a lot of your minds. So first, if we look at the Verizon Business Group, led by Tammy Irwin, she and her leadership team have moved aggressively to take the many thousands of jobs that are being done in our call centers, supporting our customers in the business. We've now moved to where we've got close to 80% of those positions being managed from home in ways we never thought was possible in multiple countries around the world. In Verizon Media Group, we had over 90% of our folks transition to home late last week, but folks worked over the weekend to find means for many of the other positions to be done from home, and Guru and his leadership team are taking steps to be able to continue to provide reliable content so people in the world have a place to go for sound content, and at the same time keep our people safe. Another leadership team under Ronan Dunn has been very hard at work figuring out how do we continue to provide support to all of our customers, especially as so many are being asked to work from home or have children who are schooling from home, or other small businesses that need our support through our distribution centers. His team's been hard at work since Saturday figuring out how to reimagine this. And so a couple of things they want to make sure I mention is that first, they're executing to plan. They have over 25% reduction in foot traffic, driven largely by many of the containment efforts put in place by governments and municipalities here in the United States. We have reduced our hours. We've closed stores. We now have over 625 points of distribution we've taken offline for now, and that's over 300 of our own retail outlet stores, and reduced staffing levels by 50%. We are also seeing in our customer service environment, we're pushing areas to work at home that we previously did not have. So we'll be doing telesales via home-based agents, moving more work in that direction. And then we expect with our in the customer service centers, we're seeing a reduction in some kind of calls and an increase in others. So wireless calls are down, but FiOS demand calls are up. It's sort of evening out. We've currently got 3,800 employees working as home-based agents, but by the end of next week, we expect to have the vast majority to home-based agent models. And then another thing we know is on the minds of folks in both VCG and VBG and in our call centers in dispatch, as well as are we practicing social distancing in the workplace? And the answer is yes, we are, and we're modifying that. And we have with us today Kyle Malady, who could comment as well on the ways that we're continuing to support the field force in modifying and getting folks to work from home. So that's my key message today. In addition to that, as I mentioned yesterday, Jeremy, we've been working hard at where we cannot accommodate folks from work at home and folks are in critical roles. What are we doing to make sure that we're keeping them safe in the public? Kyle will talk about dispatch calls. I just talked about retail. We've implemented social distancing practices in the stores as well. So we have a one-to-one customer and employee ratio with the proper distance applied. We also are working on the right PPE to make sure that folks have hand sanitizer and wipes and other protective gear that our employees have asked for. And then finally, we also clarified so everybody can have a good understanding of how they're treated in case they come, if they were to contract or be in contact with the coronavirus, or if they are not able to come to work. And so as this webcast finishes, a letter from me will come out clarifying also our caregiver leave policy, which we have augmented for our employees.
All right, Christy, thanks so much. A lot of new information there. Kyle, I want to go right to you and what Christy was talking about. You've got employees who, a couple of sides of this. They're one outside fixing the network, right. The networks in these situations. And then if customers need something in their homes, how are you keeping those folks safe and what's your message to them?
Right, so the team, Kevin Service, myself, Gina Wilborn and others, we've been working to institute processes and procedures to make sure people can be as safe as possible. Obviously, keeping our networks up and servicing our customers is top priority, but we need to do that in a way that's safe for everyone. And so we've put in things like screening when calls come in from customers, screening to see if they're sick when they make the appointment, screening again before we actually go. We're working on things such as how to maybe have trucks at home so people don't have to congregate in a garage. So more work going on there. As Christy said, making sure we get PPE. It's difficult right now, but we're working to get sanitizers and such. So people who do have to respond to a customer can do so and make sure that they're safe. Now, a lot of work we do doesn't mean we have interaction with the customer, and we can do a lot of things, say for cell sites, right. We could fix those, but we're primarily concerned with people who are out on the front line having to engage with our customers and making sure that they can be safe.
Good to know. I know a lot of questions came in yesterday about that, so thanks for taking that on, and thanks to the list of folks here, Michael and Joe, and the people on the field who asked that. So next we're going back down to the Emergency Operations Center. Christy, this question is for you. Talking about testing, this one came from Steve in the Columbia, South Carolina call center. They want to know, if a facility does have someone who tests positive for coronavirus, what are the steps to then clean that facility to make sure that it's good when that reopens or whatnot for people to go back in?
Thanks, Steve, for that question. We know this is on a lot of employees' minds. So I shared with you yesterday, we had half a dozen cases of coronavirus across Verizon, confirmed cases of Verizon employees in a variety of sites around the world, one in Brazil, and then a number of the other 5 cases here in the United States. Employees in those locations are immediately notified, as they were. The individuals that had direct contact in the area of the facility or in the space where the employee with a confirmed coronavirus case worked are also placed on quarantine. and then the facility is shut down so that it can be fully remediated. And I want to highlight, while facilities are shut down or our people are quarantined, that is with compensation. So we really want people to feel safe coming forward and telling us when they have a case of coronavirus, so we can take care of them, their coworkers, our facilities, and then continue to properly serve all the other stakeholders we have. In terms of remediation, under John Vasquez's leadership is our global real estate team, and they have a process that's recommended by the Center for Disease Control, which involves a set of disinfectant products as well as cleaning agents that are used to remediate the building, and the building is not reopened until it's a full confirmation that the remediation process is complete. And we're also using the VENS, which is a text notification system. So if you're an employee in a location affected by a confirmed case of coronavirus, you will receive a text notification in addition to an email message, but we recognize people receive their texts more quickly. And if you're ever in doubt or you have a concern, contact our command center and we'll get you the information you need.
Christy, thanks so much. Going to stick with you for a follow-up here. A lot of questions about time off, specifically scenarios involving employees whose locations are closed, but they're unable to work from home. Tell us more about how time and pay will be handled for those employees, please.
So in that circumstance, Jeremy, we will be compensating the employees when their facilities are closed and they cannot come to work. So I think that's just important for people to know. And we're working on making sure there's some plan to support commissions and such, where we've got an alternate kind of market environment here. So teams that are on commissions, their leaders are talking to them about that, and there's practices typically in place that we're activating for such an environment. The other thing to note is if somebody can't work from home, and they also now, given the fact that many countries around the world have shut their school systems down, and in the United States about half of the states have done so, and the government at the federal level is encouraging all states to do that, we are relaxing our work at home guidelines so people can be working at home even if they also have children in the home that may be logging in and doing school at home and such. So that's a really important point we want to note. But if for whatever reason that still is not sufficient and there's a caregiver requirement that requires an employee to not be allowed to work at all, they can apply for caregiver leave, and we'll support them at 100% compensation for up to 8 weeks. And then after that, we'll reduce it to a 60% level consistent with our leave policies. And internationally, the particular details might be slightly different by country, but we'll have that as our minimum unless legislated otherwise. And you may be hearing a lot about things going on in Washington. We don't have any line of sight in the United States to when that might pass, and the current versions of the bill wouldn't apply to our company. And we felt it was critical to get a policy and program out there for the peace of mind of our workers.
All right, Christy, thanks so much. Now, we're going to switch folks down there in the EOC and go to Hans for this this next question here. Obviously, our team at Verizon Media operating a lot of news agencies right now and ways to stay up to speed with what's happening there. Obviously, Yahoo Finance talking about the markets. Everyone wants to know, how are they staying connected to all of this while also doing their job and keeping folks connected to that news?
That's a good question, and I should probably mention it in the beginning. I mean, some of our very important Verizon Media groups that is under the umbrella of Yahoo are doing a very, very critical job at the moment. I mean, Yahoo Finance is basically live from bell to bell, doing a lot of important information about the financial market, but they're also spreading out, so they do it virtually. They're not in the same places, so they're working in the new ways as well. And then, of course, Yahoo News has been, I would say, one of the absolutely best news outlets when it comes to the coronavirus. So they are working constantly to have the right information, the facts are right, and getting that out. So I think they are doing a heroic job, some of those pieces in Verizon Media Group. Of course, we have the search and the mail, and all of that is even more used these days than normally. So I think that the Verizon Media Group and their customers also have a lot of new pressures and new ways of working. I'm really proud of what they are doing at the moment, and the importance for our society with that information they're getting out there. So it fits very well into our responsibility as a company to handle all the stakeholders that we have around us.
Hans, thank you so much. And actually some sports news out there in the world today, in the world of football. So the folks at Yahoo Sports with Tom Brady and Cam Newton making moves there. But not important. We're back to coronavirus here.
Yep.
So Kyle, we talk a lot about folks working from home, including our own employees. To set the tone here in Basking Ridge right now, it is an empty facility.
It sure is.
We're here, but how are you handling the load on the VPN? You know, we've got a message here from Robert out in Casper, Wyoming, saying some engineers are having trouble getting VPN connections. Are any increase to capacity or?
Okay. So, hey, thanks for the question, Robert. I think if you have a specific issue, actually, I'd just say, why don't you, I'll take your email and we'll hook up the right person to look at your specific situation. But we have been planning for increase in our VPN bandwidth, right? So we've been working on that so everybody can work from home. A big shout out to the folks in GTS. This is unprecedented, the amount of folks that we have trying to work from home. They keep coming up with new solutions to allow us to push the envelope there and do more and more and more. And I really, really appreciate all the work they're doing to support the BUs and all of the employees here. But we'll go back and look at that specific issue. It might be localized to you there, Robert, and we'll take care of it. But overall, we're monitoring and looking at all these assets and making sure we have enough capacity so people can work from home.
That's interesting. How do you make that happen? Is it cloud? I don't want to get into too many details, but if you see something,
Yeah, it depends. I mean, there's VPN traffic we have running over our overall big networks, our public networks, so we're looking at that. But more or less, it's really, we're trying to keep up with the servers, and you have the Duo server. Make sure everything has enough capacity in it, so when the load comes at it, we can handle it, and people can do work from home.
Good to know. I know I'm definitely relying on that when I'm not here in the office. All right, going back down to Hans now in the Emergency Operations Center. Hans, sorry to drop the Tom Brady news on you like that. I know you've been focused on other things, but when you talk about media and the things that are out there, we played the commercial at the beginning of the live here. How are we making adjustments there in the story that we're telling through our advertising?
No, I think that's another thing that we work constantly with. Of course, how do we come out externally with our marketing and so on? And Diego and his team are working with that constantly. But we have actually changed a little bit in the tone and what we're talking about. We talk more about the network, of course. That's is very essential to each and every one right now. So yes, we are also moving that at the same time as this is evolving.
Hans, while you're there, and Christy spoke to it a few minutes ago with, following government suggestions and guidelines, how do we stay plugged into all of those things as they come down from the federal, the local, and the state folks over to Christy to answer that one?
Thanks so much. I think this is a really trying time, and it's hard to stay on top of the news given how rapidly it's changing. So I would just encourage employees, we've got our coronavirus webpage, there's an external page that folks can tag quickly into, and then through our VZ Web internal page, we have even more information for people. And our Verizon media team wants to remind everybody that we're working hard to be a source where people can go to for facts and fact-based coverage of what's happening with coronavirus. They can also always email us, reach out to their manager and their HRBP, and we're here. We've got a command center in the emergency room answering 24 hours. I also want to thank people that are writing us letters. Yeah. Hans and I receive a lot of communications on things you think we're doing right, things you think we're missing the ball on, and we respond to those, and it helps inform our strategy and our response, because ultimately we're here for you and we're here for our customers.
All right, Christy, thanks so much. So bring it back here. We're near the end of our time. Mm-hmm. Kyle, any final thoughts for your team, or just holistically as we're looking at the networks?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just thank everybody. This is a trying time for everyone, both personally and professionally. We've never been in waters like this. And, everybody just using common sense, doing the right things, to make sure we can keep our networks up and you can remain safe. Things will evolve. We'll have to adjust. That's just the way this thing is going. But I appreciate everybody keeping safety top of mind as they're doing the work here.
Good. Thank you, Kyle. So we'll go to Hans now for a final word before we wrap up back here in the studio.
Thank you, Jeremy. No, I think we have said a lot today. I mean, I think a couple of things are important for me. I mean, as you can hear from us, we are managing all the stakeholders because all of them are so important to us. I mean, we as employees are super important. That's the number one priority all the time, to see that you're safe and healthy. Secondly, the customer piece of it, we just need to see that we also can keep the networks up for our customer because it's so critical. Then the society piece of it, that we work with constantly and interaction with all the important constituencies around us to see how we can support them. And finally, we have a financial market and shareholders that we're also managing. And we're trying to see that we're doing right for all of them at the same time. And as Christy said, and Jeremy said, and Kyle said, this is new times for all of us. All feedback, everything you're getting back to us is super important because we can formulate how we take this forward. And I think that it's just great to see how everybody comes together as a team. And if there's some time that I'm really proud of all these companies, of course, during these times, because all the V-teamers are doing just an enormous job and pulling for each other. And so that's how I see it. And back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you so much for that, Hans, and Christy down there, and Kyle joining me here in person. We're going to continue these chats every day, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll get the updates from the folks who need to share information with us, obviously Christy and Hans, and then the other leaders in the business. Now, a lot of questions have come in during this. We're going to take those and see what we can answer for you tomorrow. But again, you can always drop your questions to live@verizon.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, you're up to speed.